Well, we are live once again on Yonkers Voice, and this time around, Hector the Connector. For those who don't know him, which I doubted very much, Hector is the creator of Stop and Shake, and also a community activist and leader in the community of Yonkers. Does tons of work for the community, connects people, does an immense amount of things. And I am Vru Ross from Yonkers Voice. I am going to let Hector define a little bit of what is his purpose in both fields, as Stop and Shake and also as a community activist. So Hector, take the floor.
Thank you, Ru, for your time. I appreciate this interview. I'm just a regular guy from the community who wear many hats. Stop and Shake started as part of my transition. I wanted to be a better person in society. I wanted to work towards being an activist. But there was a lot of tension between police and community, so I started Stop and Shake to help build some security. Through that, I became Hector the Connector. I know people across the board, and I do everything I can to connect, because if you win, I win. And so just being able to do all that for my community, be that middle person, be that conduit, so to say, has definitely been a blessing. I feel like that's my purpose. But ultimately, I did it for the kids. Having kids made me a better man, better father. Every day I learn more lessons. And so, yeah, in a nutshell, man, I'm just I'm just a regular guy just trying to do the right thing.
But you, Hector.
And thank you, though, for Yonkers Voice, too, man. Yonkers Voice, you've definitely done really good stuff on trying to just broaden your horizon. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. Actually, that very first press release of the Stop and Shake, I was there. And even before, when Casa de Café was open, we met there many times. You know what?
That's
I
right,
miss
that's
Rhonda.
right.
I miss Casa de Café. It was a great thing,
It was. I remember, yeah, you was Yonkers Whisper. You did good, just branching out. So.
But Casa de Café actually was a foundation for many good things that happen in Yonkers.
Yeah. Casa de Café was definitely the hub of a lot of relationships. It fostered so much things. Rhonda, if you're watching, we love you, we miss you. Rhonda did amazing creating that space for Yonkers. There's nothing like that in Yonkers.
And Hector, I don't know if they still do it, but many years ago they did it. Before they started a major construction, they used to make a time capsule where they put something with signatures.
Yeah.
If Bubbles on the pier, remember Bubbles on the pier? Yonkers Voice is birth of Yonkers Voice, Casa de Café. Yes. If we had to put a time capsule on the ground, it would be Casa de Café.
Absolutely. Casa de Café was that spot. It just gave everyone the opportunity to come together. I mean, it was the only place in Yonkers where you can see someone homeless and someone that was working in the city together, having a cup of coffee, talking, or enjoying one of her open mics or one of her many workshops and forums. I mean, that was like the third space, like it was just amazing. Or the fourth space, something like that. But
yeah, incorrect.
Rhonda definitely did great.
We should never forget, where we came from. We should never forget where did we started. We should never forget those that were around us that make what we see today happen. It was a great beginning. So Rhonda, if you are watching, Rhonda and her family, Alex, and if you guys are watching, thank you and kudos to you, and I hope you're doing well.
Yeah. They're actually doing really well in Massachusetts. I hear they're opening up a cafe.
Oh yeah,
a marijuana cafe. It's legal out there, and so they'll be doing some infused drinks and edibles, and so maybe we'll get her to come on one day and let us know how that's going in Massachusetts.
I have a different plan. Maybe you and I jump in the car one day, and once they open, then we show up there on the inauguration.
That sounds like a plan.
But now, Hector, there is always a story behind why we do what we do. Okay?
Of course.
There is always a propeller that drives us, that makes us us, right?
Right.
I have my story, and I'm sure you have yours. Without going too much into details, you want to tell me a little bit about Hector, the connector? What made you be that way? What made you be the people's person? What drove you? What make you say, because many times, Hector, before we actually take that step to do what we do, there is a lot
Right.
of thinking before that happen.
Right. I think one of the most pivotal parts of my life, and not many people know, is that Andrea Stewart Cousin actually was the one that had me step away from my gang life. And this was years ago. She introduced me to Lucy. We were at a gang rally or something at Nepahan Community Center. This was early 2000s. And Jim Bosick was hosting something, and Andrea Stewart, I was young, I was just reckless and wild, and she pulled me aside, and she spoke to me, and she said, "You're better than this," and introduced me to Lucy from Grayston Gardens, Lucy Casanova, who just planted that seed. And so, like, from that encounter on, I just always try to be better than yesterday every day. I learned a lot of lessons throughout the way. One of the things that made me the connector was more that coming from where I came from, I didn't have like the social credentials. I didn't have a GED. I didn't have a high school diploma. I didn't have anything that would help me get to the next level. And so I realized that I just needed to know the right people. And so I just started treating everyone with love, holding integrity, and really just trying to be, I like to say, respectfully invasive. Be in people's space. How are you? Respectfully, and just be assertive. And through that, I've been able to connect so many people. I have resources that I personally can't even use. But because I'm a conduit, so many people reach out, and I'm able to just keep that love within our community. Um, but yeah, in a nutshell, it's really just not having the social credentials originally, and looking for a different way. But how about you? What made you start the Yonkers Voice? What made you,
Well,
because now you got 35,000 followers. When I
uh,
met you, you probably had like 500.
well, actually, I have much more than 35,000 viewers. Okay. So let's start by setting the record straight because, I'm very picky with those numbers.
Oh, God. Numbers don't lie. You're right.
Yeah. But, Hector, but before we go into me, I want to applaud you because not everything it's about the diploma, not everything it's about the credential,
Right, right,
not everything
right.
it's about our academic education. Because
Absolutely.
I see lots of people with degrees, academic education, but they cannot connect to the people. There is
Right,
something that it's inside that
right.
helps you connect those who are outside of your circle. And
It takes a lot of optimism. It takes a lot of optimism, um, but yeah, man, I just love Yonkers, man. I love my community. I love who I'm becoming. Every day, I'm a better person. From one encounter or another, I'm just a better person every day, and I love it. And it all starts here. So
well, I'll tell you a little bit about Yonkers Voice. Yonkers Voice started 14 years ago, longer than a lot of people realize. Okay. But you were there from the day one. Okay. And you saw our progress. Yes,
right,
very, very often, Hector, you join something or you start something for a particular reason, but you end up staying in that for a totally different reason.
right, right,
Yonkers Voice was created as a place for us to talk about because I felt that there was a lot of things that happened in my city. There were a lot of things that maybe we want to talk about that no one would care. There would be not a
right,
single news outlet or platform that would talk to the people. And I said, you know what? Let me create a page and let me make the name Yonkers Voice. Not the voice of Yonkers, just called Yonkers Voice. It's a platform
Right.
that is not my voice, it's your voice. It's a platform where me, you, Joe, whatever, can come and make our voices be heard. That's the point of the page.
That was your objective, right?
That's
Right.
the objective. And the name Yonkers Voice is nothing but a brand name. You know, a lot of people think because it's Yonkers Voice, you know,
But
it's
what was your passion? What made you actually start doing that? Was it something in your life, as you said, sometimes something happens that, has you start on this mission? Was there something that happened that you said, hey, look, I need to start documenting stuff. I want to start giving raw news.
well, I felt that the news was manipulated. I felt that the news that was received by you or by me were news given out based on particular political interests. Okay,
Mm,
news medias that were controlled by city hall or government or big corporations, they will always give you the news as those
right,
who pulled the strings wanted their news to be portrayed. I said, no, look, I'm going to start something. I am not a journalist. I'm just a guy with, let me show you, with this, with an iPhone who enjoys doing what I
right,
enjoy doing, going outside, feeling what's happening on the street. I have no training, and I don't
right,
think I need any training because my goal is not to manipulate your opinion, it's just to give you as it is, and you can formulate your own opinion. And
right.
because of how we started, people start feeling attracted to it, to the raw news. And sometimes, I don't know if you ever heard that expression, the things that make you feel attracted to someone are the very same things that turn you off about that someone. So
I have heard that, yeah,
you
and it's
heard,
true. It's unfortunate, true.
yes.
Because
So
like I've witnessed it myself on your page. I see if there's a video, once you see a little bit of sirens, there's about 300 viewers. I personally came on the live and I've seen 400 views. But then when you have interviews like this with community leaders or with local politicians, no one views. They come in and out. People share the negative videos. Like this one right now. If you're watching this, please share this. Please share
exactly,
this. Be part of change, because we control the outlets. So if you're sharing good videos, then we would see more good videos. But we're not sharing those. We're sharing the ones with the sirens.
that's exactly what I tell people. I said, listen, I report the news. Whatever happens on the street, I don't know. I film, post it out there.
Right.
Now the video, the videos go viral not because of me, it's because of you. You are the
Right.
one doing the sharing. So if you want to see more positive,
Right.
if you
Right.
want to propagate the positive, share videos like this.
Agreed.
No,
And that's not even on Yonkers Voice. That's
it's
everywhere. That's
everywhere.
on any media platform. Right. Flood your page with positive stuff, and we'll change the narrative for
Exactly.
sure.
I always tell people, become the change you want to see. Don't
That's right.
complain about the videos. You don't want people to see the negative, don't share it. Share the positive,
Right.
okay? But unfortunately, we are humans, and lots of us are attracted to bad news. It's
Right.
like, if you look at our own families, if you do something bad or I do something bad, I can
Right.
tell you that in less than 5 minutes, somebody's going to be calling my entire family to let them know what did Rue did. Okay, if I do something positive, people maintain silence. We don't like to spread the good news,
Right.
but that's life. And I tell
It
people,
is.
change your mindset. You're the one who need to change.
Right.
So, but I guess it's with time, people will start to get it.
How do you get the calls? Like and I remember we had this conversation once, and you said you had like a radio scanner that you could get online, and you get all the stuff that
Yes,
the police put out
yeah, in the past, that was
in
true.
the past.
Okay, in the
Yeah, yeah,
past.
yeah.
I don't know if you know that the Yonkers Police Department now changed their radio system. Now it's all scrambled. And for what I
Oh
hear,
yeah, I remember that. Right,
for
right. That
what
was
I
a few years ago.
for what I hear, I don't know if it's true, police department changed that system because of me. Because I was getting to the scene, a little bit before they did. Okay. And maybe some people did not like that,
I agree.
and they changed the system. Uh,
But
but
it's weird things like that that change systems, man.
they
It's
changed
weird.
system for little things like this. But if we have a big problem, That takes years to change. And they say,
Right.
well, change comes slowly. For certain things, change comes quickly,
Right.
but
Right.
that's again, that's life. But how do I find out? I don't have a connection with the police department. There is no one in the police department that calls me. None of that. The page is so big. And like we were just saying, people likes to give bad news.
Right.
So as soon as something happens somewhere, anywhere in Yonkers, I get a text from a
I
member,
believe it.
of the page. Hey, Ru,
Right.
this is going on. Where are you? There is a fire here. Where are you? I can,
Yeah, I've done it personally.
yeah,
I remember there was a fire in front of my building with the car during that storm, and I called you, say, "Hey, look, no one's here. Fire department hasn't been here for 3 hours."
yes. And I can even tell you a little nice story. I'm going to make it very short. I get a call at 5 something in the morning. My friend tells me there is a fire here, on this place. Where are you? So I get dressed, hurry up. I get there. And one of the firemen said, we have an entrapment in there. I said, yeah, how is it? I said, we don't know yet. We're trying to get them out. In a little while, I see the firemen coming out with somebody who looked like my friend, right? I look at him. I said, what the hell? So I go to my friend. I said, don't tell me that you were inside the house calling me. He said, yeah, because you told me if I see something, say something. So I was calling you. I said, yeah, but I said, you
Get to
call me after.
safety.
Yeah, I said, you call me after you in a safe place. I said, you call me if you see something,
Insane.
not if your life is in danger. So let me use this opportunity to tell you guys, yes, if you see something, say something. But if it's something
Right.
that involves a crime, if it's something that it's putting somebody in danger, the ones you need to call first is the police department, not me. Okay. Once you are in a safe position, I
Right.
would appreciate that call, but do not put yourself at
That's
risk. Don't
funny.
put nobody else at risk in the sake of calling me. I come secondary or third after you, your friends, your family. Do whatever you have to do first. Now,
Right.
Hector, community leader and activism. I see lots of community leaders. It's a
Yeah,
beautiful
man.
word. I'm a community leader, but there is much more to it than just I am a community leader. Action,
Right.
not
Right.
words, is what matters.
Right. The proof is in the pudding.
The
I
proof
mean,
is in
there's
the pudding.
people. Integrity. Now, if anybody leaves it with anything in this of this interview, integrity, integrity, integrity. A lot of leaders, local leaders, you see the work throughout the years. You see it progress. I want to take this time real quick to highlight some community leaders, like 914 United. If you haven't been following these folks, go check them out. 914 United, 100 Sisters, Pamela's Big Heart, Black Westchester, Matthew Wallace Foundation, the Yonkers Guardian, the Lab on Ludlow in Yonkers, Yonkers Art, even some like local brands that have started to build a community and build love and just entrepreneurship. The Loons, Corner Kings, Legacy. I mean, this guy within a year had his own spot. I mean, if that's not inspiring to anybody, I think that it's important for us as a community members to just take care of each other now, hold it down. We got us. Um, and so like I like to highlight Tanya Connor, right? She runs 100 Sisters, and if it's just about knowing your friends and knowing when to support and be that real. If I come to Tanya with anything pertaining to the police department, she's gonna say, Hector, no, I'm good. She's gonna stop me mid conversation. Hector, stay in your lane. That's you. And she just won't. She just would not support because she has her reasons, and she's like, Hector, that's your lane. But if I called her and said, hey, look, we want to do something in the community. We want to take care of the homeless. She is right there, front line, full and center, right? And I think that it's beautiful to have relationships with people in the community like that. Yourself and I, we respectfully agree to disagree all the time. But if you make it, I make it. I agree with you in the sense where several news outlets only pay attention to certain things. I personally have called many outlets, Channel 12, Files, you name it. I've reached out to them sometimes for events and they won't come and cover it. Or I know others who reach out and they won't cover community events sometimes. And so it's platforms like yours and even Black Westchesters, like those from the community who can actually have the connection with the community and actually funnel the messages out, be that conduit. Um, and so with that, I definitely wanted to ask you real quick, is there anything you're doing, I would say now, to kind of change the narrative of Yonkers Voice? Because I know that a lot of people feel that Yonkers Voice only shares negative. And you say, people share negative. So that, and I agree, sometimes people share this. If you're watching, I'm gonna say it again. If you're watching, share this, share something positive, share uh, an interview with a politician, share when he's at the community events. Because if we're sharing all the police videos, then it just doesn't serve our purpose. But is there anything you're doing personally to kind of help change the narrative as you've grown? Because I've seen that you've transitioned. It went from just filming police at one point. I remember you were just filming what police do, and most of the stuff was at night. Then you opened up and started marketing with businesses. And then you started opening up, and just like little by little, as you've grown, because we all grown and we all learn by our mistakes. I've seen that you really trying to broaden your audience, and try to be as neutral as possible. So, is there anything now that you're doing to try to help with that narrative?
Well, let me start by this, Hector. You've been with Yonkers Voice from the day one. Have you ever called us, or you ever called me, telling me, Ru, there is some positive stuff that I'm doing. There is a positive event going here or there that I
Right, right,
told you, no, I don't have time for that, or no, I'm not covering that, or show negativity to it ever.
no, no.
Okay. Now, never.
Personally, yeah,
I've been always there, and I am at
right,
every
right,
place that I have been invited. But remember that for me to cover positive stuff, I have to be told about those positive events. Okay, so that's why I ask in most of all of interviews, I say, guys, if you know of a positive story, something that needs to be highlighted, things that need to be talked about, it, call us, yv.support@yonkersvoice.com. You need to let me know so I can be there. If I
right,
don't know, I cannot be there. Okay, I have been everywhere, including not long ago, we had a fire at One Glenwood. You reached out to
hmm,
me saying there were 2 or 3 guys that did a beautiful thing there to help the people of Yonkers,
yeah, yeah, man, right,
that that we should interview them. And I said right away, yes. I actually went to meet them, but unfortunately things did not work out. I don't know if they were working, they couldn't make it. But my interest
right,
was to highlight them for what they did. So I'm always ready to highlight the positive. There is a lot of musicians that been on our platform. Actually, we have a page called the Pure Arts, where it's only
right.
for
I
artistic,
saw that.
yeah, artistic things, singers, writers, sculptors, poets. They go there and they talk about what they do, and we broadcast, and then we share to the other page. So if you go to Yonkers Voice now, the Yonkers Voice page, not Yonkers Voice Center, Yonkers Voice page,
The
and
page,
just
yeah, the main
scroll
page.
down, and you see that most of the stuff there has no negative tone to it. Yes, sometimes there are things that have negative tones. I don't make the news, I just report the news.
Right.
Okay? We interviewed a young folk from
But what are you doing? But what are you doing? Is there anything you're doing
yes, 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 yes,
that's
yes.
helping with that?
Yes, we going. I'm getting there. So we had faces like 2020 was different than 2021. Going
Mm,
forward, I'm
right,
looking to have interns that can help us, okay, with different type of writing, different type of articles, reaching out different type of audiences. So our platform is broader and can
that's
please
smart. Right,
please the most
right.
amount of people as possible. But with that said, Hector, there is no way that we at Yonkers Voice will be able to make everybody happy. It does not matter what you do.
Agree, agree.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you do. You're always going to have a handful of people that are going to disagree. And this is a page, well, this is a platform that has more than 100,000 people following. We have Yonkers Voice Center. We have Yonkers Voice Center Parentas YVC. We have Yonkers Voice. We have Politics page. We have Nuestra Gente. We have Latin Power. We have pets. We have we have LGBT. We have Middle Eastern interests. We have large platform. And sometimes you on your own family or me, on my own family, I cannot keep everybody happy on my own family. Imagine keeping a family of over 100,000 people happy. Okay?
Right. Agreed. But I think that's a good idea with the interns. I think that it's important to bring in people who can like identify with a specific community, and be able to just like there's a local journalist that amazing writer, Dennis Richmond. I think Dennis. I think you have him on coming up next week or something. But his writing is amazing. He's done several things with articles media all over New York, and so I think that it's important to highlight local journalists too. So that's a great idea.
Definitely.
To bring in other people, right?
Definitely. Actually, Dennis, we interviewed him maybe 2 years ago at the Yonkers Public Library. He had a show about college, and we interviewed him. And he's coming back on, I believe, the 10th of the 11th, sometime next week. An amazing young man.
Nice. Yeah.
Right. I believe, I'm not sure, but it's Howard educated. So he's an amazing young guy. But I know that he's
awesome.
more. I know that he's more amazing.
He's a teacher. He's such a great guy.
And I'm sure there is more amazing people in Yonkers.
Right.
We just have to find them. So if you know who you are and you want a platform where you can talk and
so where can people, if people have a good story right now, where can they email?
yv.support@yonkersvoice.com. Now, just going back to what you were just talking before this segment, community leaders, it's important, Hector, that community leaders don't become the same type of people as those they condemn, okay? This is what I'm talking about. BLM, social injustice or social justice, we criticize that. We criticize the injustice that has been done to minorities. And then you turn around and you see minorities that call themselves community leaders doing that very same injustice and slandering to other people. So if you want to be a community leader, then become the change you want to see. Don't simulate those you criticize.
But you know what? I think that the issue with that is, as community leaders, we haven't created a safe space, right, for us to heal, to get over our feelings, for us to share. And sometimes things like that get mixed up. I think that, and I believe Pamela's Big Heart Foundation is like trying to formulate something like this, where community leaders can come, debrief monthly. We can share events. We can share projects. Each month, take on a different project and try to really help that person get to the next level, but also create a space where we can come together and heal and kind of talk. We get enough bad talk from media and from everyone else in the system sometimes, that we don't need to do things like that publicly a lot of the time. And so I think that, just to bring it to the point of healing within our community, we're all fighting sometimes towards the same goal in different parts of the city. And if we just came together and really exercised our right to vote, and B, organized together, I think it'll be just a beautiful thing for our community. Because we can't always expect a politician, because just like you say, community leaders flip. Sometimes politicians flip. Sometimes they come from the community, they meet the right developer, and things go south. So we just have to make sure that we hold integrity to our community, and remember where we came from. Treat the garbage man as you would the mayor.
Well, exactly, Hector. But I think that this fight just started. The changes, the demands for the changes, well, didn't just start. We've been fighting for that for a long time. But now we're starting to see the changes, and we have seen the changes begin to happen in the last election. Things have changed. But
Right,
I just tell the people of Yonkers, the young guys that, are community leaders, and some are very bright, very articulate,
right,
they understand, but don't fall into that same trap of becoming the same as the guy you condemned. Just be careful,
right,
okay? Just
right. Yeah, because people can become the person they're saying they're not, or the person that someone's saying you are. You can become that, trying to prove that you're not. So just keep true to you, keep it moving. Um, and yeah, I don't want to. I really, I think our local leaders are doing great in their own sense. And we just got to unify that. I think a big issue in Yonkers, at least, and I mean this is everywhere, but because we're here, I want to keep it here. Um, is a generational gap. There's a whole generation of folks who at one point did a lot of great work in Yonkers. They paved the way for a lot of us younger leaders. Uh, and now they're just not passing down the torch. And it becomes a conflict because sometimes a lot of the work either they're doing can seem ineffective or outdated. Um, and us as younger leaders, we're like ready to fight the good fight. And so I think that if a lot of leaders just knew when to humbly back down and help the younger generation, we could get so much further. Like I appreciate people like Lorraine Lopez, man. Lorraine Lopez, she's been here, done it, did it. I mean, she's inspirational. Coming from our community, from absolutely nothing to being able to be a mentor and a leader for so many different groups, or just a conduit. Um, she's awesome. She's amazing, and I respect her because she tries to help as much as possible. She'll agree to disagree if she has to, if it's for the better of our people. And I respect that 1,010%. Just like you, I agree and disagree with you all the time, but I know that the platform itself can be a bigger tool for our community. So I just try to help you help us.
Yeah. Well, Lorraine, if you are watching this broadcast, send me a text so I can send you the link. Perhaps you want to, give us
Right,
your
Lorraine's
opinion.
awesome.
What do you think? How you see certain things? So send me a message so I can reply to you with the link. Yes, no doubt that, but one thing that people need to understand, that Yonka's voice is your voice. It's not my voice. All that I tried to accomplish, and I think I have accomplished, was building up a bridge that helps point A and point B connect.
Right,
Until not long ago, you wouldn't be able to go to the police department and say, look, I would like to speak with the police commissioner.
right.
You
For
couldn't
sure.
go.
First of all, I would have been terrified to even go. So,
Exactly. You couldn't walk into the
right.
Yonkers City Hall and said, "I'm here to talk with the mayor," or make
Well,
that.
I still can't do that, but it
Yeah,
would be
well,
cool.
you still can do that, but now they come on Yonkers Voice, so you can
Right,
ask
right,
them a very direct question to them, and you get an answer on the spot. And
right,
they made themselves available to that. We have a once a month get together with the police commissioner. Once in a while,
right,
Mayor Mike Spano gives us an interview. Politicians, councilmen give us the interviews all the time, where the community can engage with them. You can ask the question that concerns us. What I wish was that people from the Yonkers would take advantage of this bridge and cross it. Okay,
right.
you have free
And
talk.
in retrospect, I see why. I understand why you say that Yonkers' voice is our voice, and it's because so many people send you videos, so many people send you what's going on everywhere, and so I get it, and you, but I agree that you should definitely bring in interns and try to help. Um, I guess get out to more community events and stuff. If you're watching this and you're a journalist and you want to intern or you want to help us, take this opportunity to reach out to Rue Ross and start writing what you see in our community. Let's put a blog section on Yonkers Voice on the website, and just talk about our community issues, letters to editors or something. So
Well, the
yeah,
plat the
where can they
platform
email you again?
yv.support@younkersvoice.com.
Perfect.
So many people don't know, but all of those things are already in place. We have an email
Right.
to share stories. We have an external web page called younkersvoice.com/blog, where you can post your articles, where you can talk about the things that are important to you, where you can voice your concerns. So
Right.
everything is there. Take advantage of it. Make your voice be heard. And again, guys, Yonkers Voice is nothing but a brand name. Like Washington Post is not about Washington or about the Post. Greenwich Village
Right.
is not about Green or the Village. Those are just brand names, nothing else.
Right.
I call it Yonkers Voice because I am from Yonkers. We started in Yonkers, so we call it Yonkers Voice. That's about it. Now, Hector, what's coming up for you now? Tell us a little bit about you. What's coming up? What is your projection about Yonkers? What are the changes that you hope to see coming in regards to police reform? Because if we are asking for a reform, it's because things were
Right.
not right. That's why we are asking for the reform.
Right. Agreed.
So, in that aspect, what do you see there coming? Are you happy with the way it's going now?
I I, I I'm happy, and I appreciate our police commissioner. I think that it's so important to have the right person in position, um, in leadership, and I think that he's such. I've met both. Not to say that Gardner was such a bad guy, but I appreciate the time that Commissioner Mueller has taken out to talk to people, engage, try to change as much as possible to the best of his ability. Because there's a commissioner and then there's a PBA, and one can one can do certain things, one can do others. And so with that, Commissioner has done amazing trying to do what he can alongside the community. I actually started the Stop and Shake because of him. He was the captain of the fourth precinct. And like you said, when we launched it, I launched it because at the time, you mentioned it earlier, Bubbles by the Pier, this was a laundry service that I had started. And as a business owner, I felt like if the cops could look at me and stereotype me and say this is a potential perp, let me frisk him. They can say this is a hardworking young man trying to transition from where he came from. Let me stop and shake his hand and build that relationship. And so a lot of conversation with he was the captain at the time of the fourth precinct. Um, Shout out to Lucy and Sean Patterson Howard. She was the director of YMCA at the time. And we just sat down and had these really hard conversations. And he was able to listen to me, but also give me some answers. And if he didn't have the answers, he'll get them for me, and vice versa. And he actually, made it comfortable for me to at least even talk to a cop. Prior to him, I just didn't agree. I mean, Yonkers has a reputation. I remember being young on the block on Ashburn, and cops pulling our pants down in a store to search us, like illegal searches. I remember when the PBA president now, Keith Olson, he used to be in gang intelligence. And when we were in the streets, I remember, he used to rough us up. But for us back in the days, this is police business. This is just how it went. And so fast forward 10 years, sitting down with the captain of the fourth at the time, and having these conversations, I respect it. It built a lot of respect and trust with him, at least. And we agreed to disagree on many topics. Sometimes I was wrong, and I came at him as a young, rebellious community member. But he was patient, and he came back and he spoke to me. And so through that, I've built a lot of trust in him, which allowed me to listen and see the work he does. And so nothing but respect, and I appreciate what he does for Yonkers. He's a great commissioner. Um, as for the police reform, I think we still have a lot of work to do, man. I think it starts I'm gonna give an example like with Stop and Shake, right? So with Stop and Shake, the system burnt me out. For the first 4 years, I was super excited. Actually, when we launched the Stop and Shake that you recorded, I lived at the YMCA, and so we had the press conference downstairs. Everyone left, and I went upstairs. And since then, I worked really hard on the Stop and Shake, getting it out there. We got it throughout the county. I got it throughout the county with the team of community members that were supporting me and the community. Um, Texas, Florida, and we were able to branch out in so many places. But this was all with no budget, nothing allocated through the police budget. And even now, after all that work I've done, I run into police officers sometimes who have no idea what the Stop and Shake is, who have no idea who Hector Santiago is, even though I try to work with them all the time. And it blows my mind because it's like I'm out here telling the community, go Stop and Shake, and then the cops don't even know about it. And then when I looked into it and try to find out like why aren't these cops like aware of the Stop and Shake if it's being spoken at every event, if it's proposed for more funding, why don't these cops know? And it just went that it wasn't getting passed through the ranks. It wasn't getting pushed through the ranks, and it starts with the PBA. And so, that's been an onward battle, but I think that it's just been like, it made me step away from working with, it was almost discouraging to kind of work with the cops. I met a bunch of amazing officers. Outside of Yonkers, I can't say I'm that confident in cops. Once I step out Yonkers border, my knees shake, and I'm still nervous about cops. But in Yonkers, I've met so many, like the Guardians. You got Charlie Walker and Ron, and so many great officers. I appreciate the commissioner for that, for allowing me to have that lens now and meeting so many great police who are out there actively trying to do right by our community. But it's important for us to help them help us and change some leadership sometimes. It goes back to the generational thing. There's some people in position that just don't want to pass the torch.
Well, most of us here, probably on Yonkers Voice, don't have a comparison point, okay? I'm old enough to remember Yonkers Police Department in 1970, well, not 70, but 78, 80s, 90s. And
right, that was different.
Yeah, and compare it to the now, things have definitely changed.
Right.
We have a different police department today. I'm not saying that our police department it's perfect. Okay, I would be lying if I said that. And I have spoken to the commissioner many times, and he never tells me that we have a perfect police department. He tells me all the time there is still work to be done. Okay,
I respect that. Right.
Not every police officer is a good police officer. But then again, I say, look, not every priest is a good priest. Not every doctor is a good doctor. Not every mechanic is a good mechanic. There is good and bad. Personally, I have came across some very good police officers, officers that do their job the way it's supposed to be done, professionally, courteous, and respectful. And I have I have came across a few that are none of that. Okay, are none of that.
Agreed.
Okay, but that's life, Hector. That's life.
Right. Absolutely. But I just think that it's different when you have a gun. You could be a bad person at McDonald's, and I'm all right. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
I'll go to another McDonald's. I'll just wait for the next gas station.
Exactly.
Yeah,
the bad thing
when
is
it comes to cops, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's bad. It's terrible when you're bad and you have a gun and a badge.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's when it's different.
So
but I definitely respect where Yonkers Police is at now, 110%. I came from the Beavis and Butthead era. That was a whole different type of policing. And so now I definitely respect it. I love that we have a lot of younger cops on board, a lot of them from around here really trying to do the right thing. Again, they just need the right direction. They just need the right leadership. I know the commissioner is a great leader.
Yeah, and then again, we have a police department now where those young officers come from inside the community, people that are from our age bracket, a new society. So things have changed. Now, since we are talking about police department, police officers, Hector, there is a lot of talk about we don't have enough minorities in the police department. I
Right.
I know for the fact that the police department is doing, I think, all that they can to recruit new police officers, people from the community, minorities, women, a police department that is a true reflection of the community that
Right.
we live in. Okay, but the police department cannot just pick people from the street and say we're going to hire you. So we need to find a way to motivate these young folks to join the
I
police.
agree. Yeah, yeah, I agree 110%.
Now, I
If
have
you're watching this and you consider yourself an OG, please tell these younger cats to sign up and be cops.
yeah.
Tell your community members, your friends, your cousins, like we need more people from our community.
Now, one of the reasons that many people from the community, young guys from the community, they don't trust the system. They say that the $100 fee, it's too much for some. So I've been working with the Assemblyman Nader, and we're going to try to put the fund together, okay, that if a community member wants to apply, and if fits the criteria that to become a police officer, then we would
Right.
sponsor them for the test. But
That's a great initiative.
but I believe that there is some type of a resolution already in Yonkers that will cover for that if those kids.
I believe so. Yeah, I think there's a document you can sign. You go to City Hall, and I can't remember what you basically got to prove that you're broke.
Exactly. You
You
have to
know,
prove hardship.
correct. And so they'll waive the fee for that. So, but I think that's a good initiative if you guys just offer to pay to get more people in our community. I think one of the things that the mayor should definitely look into also is getting to give police officers a tax credit, because a lot of people become officers and then they move out of Yonkers because the taxes are too high, or they just can't afford to live here or something. So if the mayor can offer some type, or I don't know how it works, maybe we got to go through legislation, but if there could be a tax initiative for police officers that who want to buy in Yonkers can get something taken off for serving our community also. Because if we want more community police, we have to help them help us. Um, and so I know a lot of cops right now that they move upstate. It's just cheaper. So,
Now, Hector, before I forget, let's talk about the Human Rights Department. About 2 weeks ago, you didn't think I was going to let you go, right?
oh yeah,
Okay. About 2 weeks ago,
that's a whole different topic.
right, but we need to get there as well. 2 weeks ago, you
Right.
had a post on your page. You didn't say that you were going to resign. What you
Right, right,
said was that you were preparing a resignation letter just in case you needed to.
right.
Okay, so you made it very clear. You were not resigning. You were just
Right,
writing a
right.
letter in case if you needed to resign. Now, normally
Right.
resignations happen when there is some type of a conflict. There is some time of, well, we cannot work together. I know that you had a couple of meetings with them, so I don't want to go too much into your meetings because maybe there is some confidentiality involved. But
Right.
perhaps you want to tell us about what is the job of this Human Rights Commission. What went wrong that you felt the need of preparing that resignation just in case? And what's
Right.
going on now? Where is the
So all right, so I did write my resignation. There's been a lot of things going on internally that, I mean, it has been absolutely insane. Like going through it in a Human Rights Commission board for me. Again, let me just clarify: the Human Rights Commission is I don't work for the city. I don't get paid. I don't get pension. It's a completely voluntary position. Throwing that out there. No payment. No. Sometimes people think I work for the city because I'm on the Human Rights Commission, and that's not the case. But 6 months ago, yeah, I joined the commission, and I was super excited about learning more so. I think that's what kind of threw me off. I put my guard down and I came with the expectations of learning as much as possible. And in trying to learn as much as possible, I questioned a lot of things. Um, it's hard for me to share my truth without I because I don't want to take away from the many years that the Human Rights Commission and been in Yonkers and the many battles that they've taken on, right? And so I just guess I came into it at a time that structurally things were just a little off. And in the past 6 months, just trying to question, I was referred to like bylaws, and then the bylaws were really vague. And when I asked another question, I mean, I guess I over questioned the system that made them feel like I was questioning their culture. And then I just became a target. They shut me out. They, at one point, they even wanted to vote me off because of my past of things that happened years ago. They wanted to vote me off. And so that silenced me. I kind of played the background because I wasn't sure if I was going to get voted off or what, because of my past. And so I went around and by the third, fourth month, I sent the email and said, hey, as a new commissioner, no one ever sat down and said, hey, look, this is the how-to. This is what we're looking for. This is what we're going to do, right? It was always, as I asked a question, something got answered here and there. And so I spoke to council several times, different council members seeking, some type of guidance. And they were very helpful. But then it just got to the point last week where another member also was getting voted off in retaliation. And I just thought it was weird. And I just threw that post out because ultimately I serve for my community. Anything I do, it's more so my community are my consultants. I'm just a conduit for them. And so I threw that out there. And after the feedback, I knew I had to keep fighting. It reminded me why I was on the commission. And the city, I guess, sent someone to mediate. And so he sat with us 2 times. And after the second interview, the second mediation session, I guess, he echoed the same thing I was saying for months, I guess, just coming from a different messenger. But, there's a lot of work that's going to be done in the commission. I respect and appreciate many of the commissioners there. The past 2 sessions has shed light on so many things for me, at least. I really got to meet and understand certain commissioners and what they've done for the commission. Does it need work? Absolutely. Is it functionable? Possibly. And are we moving forward? Absolutely. But when we talk about police reform, one of the things that spoke volume to me is that we're out here talking about police reform. And I think we can't talk about police reform without reforming all the agencies within the city also, in any city. So just like we're looking into the police department and how they spend their budget and how much of it, goes where, we should also be looking into constituent service and make sure that, not to say that they're doing anything wrong, but are they continuing to serve our community? Is our community part of the conversation? When I say our community, Black, brown, whatever community you're from, just make sure you're part of the table. We already know who's always at the table, so let's be respectfully invasive and make sure we're there. The building department, council, throughout every part of the system, there needs to be reform. And that's not going to come until we exercise our rights to vote and we start really being more engaged, actively engaged with the community. Agree to disagree. It's such a beautiful thing, optimism. But in a nutshell, sorry, somebody was just asking a question. Go ahead.
Hector, every time when somebody comes on into an interview, I do a little background work, I do a little research, in order to ask certain questions. Now, we spoke with other people who have been part of this Human Rights Commission in Yonkers.
Right.
And the issues that you just described are not new. Okay.
Right.
There is people in the past who resigned and left the
Right.
commission for the exact same reasons. Are you aware of
Agreed.
things or you're not aware of it?
Absolutely. Yeah. After my post, I mean, I got so many inboxes of, prior commissioners who resigned for the same, some of the same reasons. And some people who have like put in complaints and it just went nowhere. And, um, and I think that the way, this is how God works. Like I got put on the commission with someone else, Janai Wallace from the Matthew Wallace Foundation. And if I was put on the commission and by myself, I probably would have resigned. And because I'm not there for a title, I don't care about the card. They're not paying me. I'm here. Let's get this work done. Let's be. I mean, 6 months has passed, and we haven't put out much from the Human Rights Commission. Not much Facebook posts, and I mean, we've been in the commission been there since early 90s, 80s, and there should be systems. I just been here for 6 months. I'm questioning systems that should be. We're in a pandemic. We have to get the information. There's rent relief. Well, thankfully now I'm going to be putting together something for the Human Rights Commission to put out on the information on rent relief and the housing issues. But yeah, there was just so much, and I came with all this energy from the community, and so they shared that they had the similar experiences. Some commissioners, you have to just get it done yourself. There's not much teamwork. Again, there was nothing really it's set in stone as to how things were done. They just were kind of done the way those people knew how at the time. I appreciate the corporate council, coming in the last two meetings. I mean, what he's brought to the meeting the last two times, the humbleness that he brought to everyone else, was amazing. That he was able to echo some of the stuff. Now we're going to be working on a Human Rights Commission handbook for new commissioners to know what's going on. One of the things we found out now, I guess, I was referred to the bylaws many times on the commission. And apparently, I guess the bylaws were never voted in by council. So we're going to revisit that and make sure that gets done. And there's a few legislations that I'm looking to push through internally into the commission to help push, to try to change something, and make it easier for other commissioners who come. Prior to the corporate council getting involved, I was gonna ask for the dismantlement and reorganization of it. I was just gonna say, look, let's get rid of all of us and start completely fresh. But after the corporate council really mediated the crap out of this meeting, and I was able to really talk to other commissioners after the fact that we were able to all share our truth and reach out to each other and talk and apologize or stand corrected. Beautiful work came from that mediation session. There's still a few things that there needs to be worked out. But I'm here for, I'm here. It's nothing that I've never had to deal with in my life. I was just completely thrown off that it was in the Human Rights Commission. I couldn't believe it. And again, it goes back to the importance of just reforming all these agencies. Not to say that they're doing bad, but, let's make sure that they're on the right track.
All right. So, Hector, are you saying that, like I told you, many commissioners in the past were not happy, and this is something that
Right.
has been happening for a
That's
while.
unfortunate.
So, exactly. So, are you saying that in one meeting that happened and everything it's hush hush and okay, and let's move forward, forget about the past?
No, it was two meetings. And what the two meetings did, what the two meetings did for me was it made me realize that it wasn't 12, it wasn't 11 commissioners, it was 3. I went from all of you to being able to identify exactly who did what, because a lot of the things that were shared under the umbrella of the commission feels like. When it came to my past, it was the commission feels like, and so it put me on the fence. I wasn't sure who was who, and we never communicated, so I wasn't sure. Thanks to the mediation, a few commissioners said, well, I didn't even know about that. I'm sorry that I was involved. And so we were able to, stand corrected and really see eye to eye. And I seen who's who, and I seen who wants to work, who wants to put the bootstraps on. And I seen who doesn't. I seen who wants to show a whole different side. But ultimately, I know for a fact that without a selected few, this commission can be such an effective agency in our community, especially now more than ever. You know, with everything going on with the undocumented community, with our Black community, with our Hispanic community, there's just so much going on, and we should be in the front line. I mean, for me, that's what I've done this before the Human Rights Commission. I just feel like I don't want to sit there and just pass out a card. Let's get some work done. Let's do it. Let's learn. Let's grow. We can agree to disagree. That's absolutely fine. But let's maintain the respect and let's maintain the loyalty to our community. In a nutshell.
That's all that matters. You know, Hector, I have,
Right.
like we were talking about in the beginning, there are community leaders that become worse than those that they criticize. So some
Right.
people criticizing you because of your past. And by doing so, enable you from doing the good work that you need to do for the community.
Right.
So they
Right.
became what they condemn. But
Right. And I appreciate sometimes, like, I've learned to appreciate certain people before when people used to talk to me and tell me about myself or spit my past in my face. Um, I didn't know how to handle it, but now I appreciate it because these are points of growth. These are things, and some of them you might just throw it out the window. It's whatever. You can't, you know, like you said, you can't make everyone happy. But a lot of times, you know, it's so important to reflect and make sure that, you know, always check yourself. Make sure you're doing the right thing. Make sure you aren't, you know, veering off track. Make sure your loyalty is to where you say your loyalty is. And so, you know, I again, I don't know if I mentioned, but 2019.
Hector, just before you go to 2019, let me just ask the folks who are watching us, please share this interview. Let's
Right,
share the
right,
positive stuff that we do. Let's share what we want other people to see.
right,
Spread it out. Ask your friends to share. This is
right.
a very interesting,
Sign up for
conversation.
interviews. If you feel like you have something to share or you want to uh, share something you're doing in the community, reach out.
Reach
Let's
out.
get more of these type of videos on here.
Okay, so 2019.
So in 2019, I've been doing activism since 2014. I was out there for many things. In 2019, I got alopecia areata. My alopecia came back, which is an autoimmune disease. It just means my immune system takes my hair as a threat, and so I lost all my hair. I lost my eyebrows. I lost all my facial hair. And so in 2019, I fell into some crazy depression. I didn't want to really talk to anybody. I worked behind the scenes. I stopped doing a lot of the activism I was doing. And it was more so because of depression. I had the identity issues. I didn't feel comfortable anymore. But I appreciate that year so much because it helped me reflect on so many things I've done, good and bad. I seen who was there, who wasn't there, who called, who didn't call when I was going through my worst. And so in 2020, I shook everything off and I said, you know what? I'm going to just jump back out there. It was an interesting year because it was the pandemic, right? So in the midst of a pandemic, with an autoimmune disease, I jumped out and said, hey, look, I have alopecia now. But I think it was so rewarding because God just gave me that whole year to really reflect as to who am I. I thought hair defined me, and there's so many people around that go through alopecia, um, and just don't have that message. I'm so glad there's actually a podcast that just started or a group. They're called Naked Crowns, and it's for people with alopecia. And so if you have alopecia, look into Naked Crowns. It's in Westchester. It's really awesome. It's a platform for people with alopecia to kind of speak out and really get how they feel out. Um, but yeah, thanks to 2019, I was able to reflect and realize so many things that I was doing wrong alongside what I was doing right, and it made me become such a better person. So I say that to say that in my community, you know, make your mistakes but learn from them. Just try to be a better person than you were yesterday every single day. If you try to do better than yesterday every day, you'll be all right.
Well, we have to, end this interview sooner or later. But
Yes, yes.
before we do that, I don't know.
Is there any questions from the audience?
No, I'm watching. I think the audience is more interested in listening than ask
Oh,
questions.
nice.
I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. I think it's a,
Right. I got a few.
huh? How you feel?
I said no. I'm good. Now I got a few inbox messages.
Oh, okay. So go ahead, ask.
Right. No questions. I didn't. It's just like sharing their thoughts on the meeting, that it's a good meeting and stuff.
Oh, well, yes, yes. I'm watching that as well. So I don't know about if you know about this actor. It's a little bit of out of the scope of our conversation, but nevertheless, it's
Right.
something that is going on in our community. We all know about Columbus Day, and there is a resolution that going on to change from Columbus Day to Indigenous Day. Okay, how you feel about that one?
I feel like we're late.
How many years?
I feel like, I mean, I'm glad it's going through. I have full confidence in the council and getting this pushed. And this isn't to take away from anyone's culture. This isn't to discredit anyone's heritage or where they came from. It's just rectifying what's right. You know, that what Christopher Columbus did was horrendous. You know, where he, I mean, just Google. I'm not even. I won't even speak. Please, people, do research. Google is absolutely free. There's no reason our smartphones should be smarter than us. Just pick up your phone, Google Christopher Columbus genocide, and just do some research. I think it's a great idea. I think that we should pay homage to even the Native Americans here in Westchester and throughout New York who paved the way for this society. So yeah, I think we're late. I think that should have been done, but I'm glad we're doing it.
But this is what the Italian community is saying. They say that they have nothing against the Indigenous Day. They support it, but just don't take Columbus Day and replace it with something else. Just pick up a different day for the Indigenous Days.
But the thing is that, like, we wouldn't celebrate Hitler Day. You know, this guy was a monster. This guy, I mean, I get it. You know, if you want to change Christopher Columbus Day, if there was something saying, hey, let's call this Italian Day, okay. But we shouldn't be paying homage to someone like that. Just like we shouldn't be paying homage to slave owners. We should, like, Rikers Island, you know, like, I mean, it's just crazy, the history. You know, throughout Manhattan, there's blocks and streets named after slave owners, which to me blows my mind because they did nothing productive for society, but create this system now that we're trying to break. And so I just think it's ridiculous to pay homage to someone who just did so much bad. You know, I don't. There was people living here already. Um, maybe he resettled Italy. You know, whatever the case. But
Yeah, you know,
interesting enough. Let's talk about let's say the interesting fact now that we're on the topic. So tomatoes. Italy is known for tomatoes. You go to Italy, you think of good sauce, right? But tomatoes weren't native to Italy until Christopher Columbus stole a bunch of stuff and went to Italy to show it off. Tomatoes were native to Native America. They never grew over there until after that voyage, and then it became the thing. So we just owe so much respect. I mean, Italian culture also has grown so much from the Native American culture, and so I think that we should just focus on setting it right and not pay homage to someone like that.
yeah, I grew up in Mozambique. That's the place I called home, that I call it my country. But the reality,
Right.
it's not. I wasn't born there. I went there at a very small age that I feel like that's my place because I grew up from since little. And I always had a problem when they said that the Portuguese discovered Mozambique. They didn't discover Mozambique. Mozambique was always there. Mozambique always had people. You didn't discover anything. You just
Right.
came here and took advantage of whatever. So I understand your point, and hopefully they will be able to figure out a solution for this. And actually, tomorrow we are going to be at an event in regards to this proposal or resolution that is about to take place. Now, guys,
Let's support it.
yeah. Now, since we here in this interview, and the point was talk about actors' work, community, politics, Yonkers voice, let me just clarify something for all of you guys that are watching. Yonkers voice grew up. You know, we had our infancy, we have our toddler years, teenage years. Now we are at the young adult. I know there is still a lot of work to be done.
Right, right.
2021, hopefully we will have some interns, some people that will write, so to, broaden our horizons. But I want to make it clear that because of our growth, we have people that follow us from all over the world, believe it or not. Australia, China, UK, Italy, Portugal, people from Yonkers that they moved out elsewhere, or maybe they're working
Right,
elsewhere
right.
now, but they want to know what's going on. So, and they show to a friend, and then the friend joins Yonkers Voice. So we have people from everywhere. And not everyone speaks English. Okay, we have a lot of people in Mexico and other places where they don't speak English. And thanks God, I'm able to communicate in 2 or 3 or 4 languages. So I see no harm when I'm reporting that I report on all languages, so everyone can understand what's going on. So I would wish that you guys would understand the same way that if you were traveling in Portugal or France or whatever, and you see something happening, you would enjoy if somebody from there could come to you and tell you, listen, this is what's going on. So let's understand, I always speak in more than 2 or 3 languages, so my entire audience can understand and know what's going on in Yonkers.
Yeah,
And
that's really impressive that you can do that. I've checked you out a few times talking English, Spanish, Portuguese. That's really cool. You need to learn sign language.
yeah, so people, so everyone that is on my
Right,
page
right,
can understand what's happening. Okay.
right,
So
right. That's cool.
now, Hector, anything that you think that maybe we forgot to touch on that you want to bring up? Anything that comes to mind?
No, not really. This is more so for us to have a conversation, open up, some type of channel from us to the community for them to feel more comfortable, either reaching out to one of us for anything they need, and to really let people know that this is the forum that we need to start sitting on to get our message out across the board. We could agree to disagree, but talk to your people. And yeah, it was just more of a conversation.
So guys, Yonkers voice is not my voice. Yonkers voice is your voice. Yonkers voice pages are not pages dedicated exclusively to Yonkers. They are dedicated to create conversations among us.
Right.
So we chit chat, we talk, and at the same time, I broadcast things that I see, but it's not a page for Yonkers, nothing but Yonkers. Some people say, oh, I thought this was about Yonkers. Well, if you thought that, you were wrong. This is a page to get us together, where we can challenge our ideas, we can challenge our point of views, and we can hear what somebody else thinks about that particular topic. So thank you all for being on Yonkers Voice. Hopefully this interview was something that you enjoyed. Hopefully you will contact us at yv.support@yonkersvoice.com. Don't forget to visit our external webpage, yonkersvoice.com.
Right.
And make this page, this platform be your platform, where you come and you express your point of view. We are here for you. We are not here for me. Hector, thank you very much. Say hello to the family, and hopefully we will talk again real soon. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Take care.